Welcome to what I consider the absolute best collegiate talk show on the market right now. It is, of course, AVGL Off Angle, powered by Respawn. My name is Philip Petty. Joining me, as always, is my friend and co-host, Hollis Bain. It's playoff season here at AVGL as the best teams in Dota and the best teams in CSGO battle it out to finalize their seeds in the upcoming playoffs. And, of course, everyone is working towards that number one or number two spot. It's going to get them a trip to the $10,000 LAN at a BeachCon this April. So, Hollis, how you doing?
Doing pretty well, Philip. Thank you so much.
Yeah, excellent, man.
Doing pretty well.
Just to kind of get off on the right foot. Let's talk about April Anarchy. It's coming up April 14th through the 18th. Long Beach, California. It's going to be awesome down there on the beach. We partnered up with BeachCon and all their sponsors to throw this event. It's going to be huge. It's going to be 150, 200 seats down there. It's in an arena. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Like I mentioned, the two best teams in Counter-Strike and the two best teams in Dota are going to get tickets down there to go compete. So if you're in the area, make sure you stop by. It's going to be a great event. They're going to have Artist Alley. They're going to have bring your own computer tournaments. It's going to be packed with people, everything to do. And of course, right to your left is going to be the Pacific Ocean. It's in Long Beach. It's going to be awesome. So definitely don't miss out on that. It's going to be really cool. Really excited. And just kind of in the vein of playoff week, we're going to have a little bit of a playoff-centric episode this episode. I'm really pumped about it. I know Hollis has been keeping his weathered eyes on the playoff picture thus far as seeding starts to come out. So, I don't know, man. You want to just get right into it? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, sounds good. So coming up, we're going to have the weekly winners for the Off Angle Week 6 AVGL. All right, diving right into what I think is the most exciting little discussion we're going to have, and that's going to be the weekly winners for this week because it is the playoff season. So, Hollis, tell me about who our weekly winner is.
So our weekly winner is actually MTU Huskies, Michigan Technology. So Michigan Tech. They won 2-0 over Georgia State. Or sorry, Georgia Tech White, not Georgia State. Georgia Tech White, which is the B team for Georgia Tech. All really good players, but the matches were actually really close. The first game was 16-14, second game was 16-13, and as you know, these last matches in the season really do determine like how your seeding goes in playoffs. And MTU ended up getting seeded 11th after this win, so
Wow.
Definitely a weekly winner there.
So what happens if they end up losing that match? How badly does it impact their seeding?
So Georgia Tech would have been 3-2. Now they're 2-3 right now. MTU is 4-1. So like they would have been tied with Georgia Tech, and it would have come down to like round wins. At the end of the seeding. So
pretty crucial that you actually pull off that victory. It just makes
yeah.
your path to the LAN a little bit easier.
For sure.
Fantastic.
I think they're playing. They're playing a decent team first round, but it's definitely better than if they were to be seeded like in the low 20s or whatever.
Right, exactly. Awesome. So that's MTU, Michigan Tech. That's the MTU Huskies are our weekly winners for Week 6 for AVGL Counter-Strike season or Counter-Strike League. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right into the Rising Star for the 6th week of this awesome CSGO season. All right, so we have for you a very special Rising Star for this week. It is HDN, a hand-drawn nerd. Hollis, what's up with this guy?
Hand-drawn nerd, super mysterious, honestly,
Yes,
Philip.
yes.
I tried to research him because I saw he had a killer game in our weekly winner game actually against Georgia Tech White. And I couldn't really find much on him. He's a elusive online presence, definitely. We can talk about stats. We can just go ahead and jump into that if you want to.
Yeah, let's get right into what makes him the Rising Star.
Yeah, hand-drawn nerd actually. So both these maps, as you know, as I've said before, were 16-14, 16-13, super close maps. On the first map, he dropped 75 ADR, and on the second map, 115. So it's like a
big change.
He managed to turn his performance around. And actually, I'm looking at his stats right here for February. I think this was week 4, 150 ADR. When was the last time you heard of that?
Gosh, I can't even remember. Maybe
that's
yeah,
ridiculous.
that is crazy.
And so, definitely a player who had an impact on these tight series here. I think overall on the best of 3, which was a 2-0, he went plus 20 KD. So he had like 50-something kills and only 30-something deaths, 35 deaths. Super good performance from him this week.
Was his performance enough to help GT White get into either keep him in playoffs or improve their seeding?
GT White, so he's on MTU.
He's on MTU.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
okay.
he actually did probably single-handedly get them their spot.
Gotcha.
The rest of the team had like 70s, 60s, and then like low 80s, high 70s ADR. So
this is a question I always ask about our rising stars because I think it's worth asking. But so are these rising stars because of their individual prowess, their individual ability, or are they rising stars because of their ability to be set up by their team? I guess what I'm asking is Hand-Drawn Nern, is he the rising star by chance this week, or is he actually playing in a team that actually sets him up to perform this way?
So I haven't really watched too much of MTU's matches. I think it was just because their group was really stacked if you take a look at it. But I think HDN, I mean, you can see through his stats throughout the weeks, like they've been up and down, but he's maintained a consistent upward trend near the end, and I think that really helps a player stand out when it comes to trying to make a difference, especially near the end of the season. So when it comes to team play and whatnot, we can speculate all we want, but at the end of the day, he's like one of the main reasons why they won.
Awesome, fantastic. So with that, we're gonna put a cap on our rising star for this week and jump right into the AVGL top plays for week 6. All right, it's the moment you've all been waiting for, I'm sure. It is, of course, the AVGL top plays powered by Respawn. Without any more fluff, let's get right into this awesome action.
Castle. Squeaky, mollied off. Jimbo has to pick up the pace. He realizes this, drops him, picks up the Galil. Manly, Kenny to stop them jumping on the bomb if he can. It's just Dipper Z. And the bomb's too far gone. That molly will seal it. Can't even stick it in the flames. And it's Alabama picked that one up and went with a nail biter. Quick two. As he's going to continue to fight towards sight. Nice shot from Manly, but he's alone in a 1v3. We'll clean it up. Okay. Oh my goodness. Nice headshot. 1v1 against Luke Gem. He's been the clutch god so far for Utah, but Manly's playing it smart. I don't think he's heard the fall off either.
But he has to know at this point, right? But look at this wraparound from Manly.
He's gone. Oh. I thought he would have seen the butt, but he's going to smoke and defuse. He has a kit. Manly's going to run up. He wanted a molly at AK out. Misses the shots. He's out of bullets. Oh. He's out of bullets. Didn't reload the AK. Luke will stay hidden. That's 8-6. That hurts.
And this is where it's going to get dangerous here. This eco round now starts getting scary. The molly's coming out, but they're going to run right into that off. That's one going in play. He's going to look towards drop, give the advantage now. Oh, he's going to pick up a second. The molly's coming out to spread on him.
Oh
That's
my
a
goodness.
Third. A fourth.
Turning our attention to the wider professional CSGO scene, the wider title scene, we're going to jump into, I think we should just tap right into the rumor mill, man, because there is some absolutely wacky stuff going on in the world of Counter-Strike right now. Firstly, namely of which, obviously, is the absolute roster insanity we have been seeing over the last, I mean, it hasn't been that long. It's been like 2 or 3 days. Yeah, well, maybe or like a week at tops. But here are the big stories to put it all in, kind of frame everything. Right, so SK drops Taco. We've talked about SK in the past couple of weeks, about the performance issues, what's going to come of that. Well, we have an answer. Taco gets dropped from SK. Cloud9 is going to let Stewie 2K, arguably their best player, one of the most, we talk about rising stars on the show. He's a rising star. Talking about 2 years, he goes from being LEM and matchmaking to winning a major. Pretty freaking impressive, if you ask me. Going to SK, Stewie to SK. Possibly Skadoodle, leaving Cloud9 being replaced. So, all right, let's peel back a couple layers. Start with this with the Stewie 2K to SK situation. How's that sit with you?
I mean, I don't like it, but that's just because I'm an NA fanboy, and I want to see the Patriots who won the major for us, stick together.
Yeah.
But obviously, that's not a reality. That's probably gonna, happen. It's definitely not gonna happen. I mean, at this point, I'm glad that he's going to another team that he feels comfortable with, and I know that they're all friends and they all have a good time together. But it just kind of sucks to see him leave C9.
Let me ask you a question, because you mentioned, you brought up something that I actually really agree with, and I want that Cloud9 team to stick together and win the next major and win these tournaments. So let me ask you this: is this a sign that is Stewie leaving for SK, which is all but publicly announced? He's already been practicing with the team. It's essentially confirmed. Is his leaving of Cloud9, is that kind of a message saying like this team either isn't serious enough or doesn't have what it takes to win the next major? Is that kind of what that says?
I don't know. I'm honestly confused by it because the results were, outstanding. They, dropped us a map to Space Soldiers, I think, in the major, but that's it, man. Like, it's not like they were on a losing streak or anything. I mean, they went to a couple tournaments. They went to WESG and didn't have they didn't have the results they wanted, but it still wasn't terrible. I think they're quick to make these roster changes, and that could either, catapult them into success or really hinder them in the short term.
Yeah, it's and that was kind of that's what made that major win so special, was that Cinderella story, right? They go down 0-2 in groups and they come back and close it out against a weak VP team and Vega Squadron, but still they go down 0-2 in groups and then they close it out, and then when they're in the playoffs, the same thing happens. They go down a couple of maps in the quarters, and they come back and then just win the rest of the tournament. It's amazing. So my thinking is that Stewie has kind of cultivated this reputation of someone who is the anti-NA player, right? He constantly is driven to win. All he wants to do is win and improve and get better. And I think that he's leaving for SK because their values match up, and he believes SK is a team that's going to do whatever they can to win, whereas Cloud9 was kind of resting on their laurels after winning the major, just kind of coasting by, collecting a paycheck. I mean, their results have been subpar for a major winning team. I mean, I think the only team we've seen win the major and then not perform like this has been Gambit, and no one was surprised when Gambit wasn't the best team in the world after winning the Atlanta major. So to me, this is Stewie saying like, hey, I want to keep winning, and I don't think this is going to happen on this team, so I'm going to go hop over to SK. So a couple of follow-ups here. Fallen's got great English. Bolts has got good English. Fur has okay English. Coldzera doesn't have the best English, for sure. So we talked about this last week, in fact, and I think it's always worth mentioning. Is language going to play an issue when these teams get matched up with a purely North American English speaker?
I don't think so, especially because they scrim all the time. They're like pretty good friends, and in Counter-Strike, as long as you get the call-out correct, you don't really have to speak much English other than like post-match discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And Fallen can really take care of that when
Definitely.
it comes to like translating and stuff. But I know Stewie, like they're friends. Like this shouldn't be hard at all. I think Coldzera is probably the worst English speaker on the team, but even then it's not bad. It's like definitely understandable, and especially when he's talking about Counter-Strike,
Yeah.
which Stewie knows very well.
Absolutely. No, I definitely agree with that. It's always something that you wonder about, because we see so many of these international mixed teams that kind of rise to prominence and succeed, like the Phases and the Mouse Sports and stuff, and they all speak great English. And I know that I honestly have the utmost respect for the SK guys for coming from Brazil, speaking exclusively Portuguese, moving to Los Angeles, and over the course of a couple of years having to essentially completely learn a new language in order just to live in the country. I mean, that's very impressive. So I definitely have a lot of respect for that. I don't think it'll play too much of an issue, but there's always that chance that something gets lost in translation in game that ends up costing you rounds. I always wonder about that. Like, is there just a miscommunication? Is there a weird pronunciation that makes me not understand what you say? And that kind of uncertainty, not having. I mean, you're a high level Counter-Strike player. You know this better than anyone. Having those really clear lines of communication is critical to success. And if you miss a call, if you mess up a call, or you can't understand someone's call, that has big implications. Definitely has big implications.
Mm-hmm. And I think part of something that could get lost in translation, Philip, is what you just said, is is actually the implication of the call itself, and not the mistake, but actually like the intent of how aggressive someone calls something, how
Sure.
loudly someone calls something. These things can have passive meanings that are lost in translation and can cause over rotates and whatnot. So, definitely something to look out for, but I think they could get over it.
Yeah, a lot of nuance and communication, really important in a game like Counter-Strike. But staying on Cloud9, reports have started to surface that Skadoodle, their star opper, who actually really was one of the key figure pieces in securing that major win a couple of months ago, is actually going to be departing the team as well. Has not been online in 3 days. They've been practicing with a different couple of fifths, rotating in and out. There are reports surfacing that it's going to be JDM, but is this a good move to get rid of Skadoodle?
It's a hard move for sure. JDM is a very similar opper in my opinion when it comes to C9's. I mean, in a Counter-Strike in general, like he's a turret, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he can be way more flashy than Skadoodle on T side when he's really feeling it. But honestly, like 90% of the time, I can view them as almost identical oppers. JDM is definitely more of a talkative person in game, I think. And he's got that personality, like that, like outgoing, let's kick everyone's ass personality. When Skadoodle's kind of more passive and stuff. So honestly, I can see the change working out really well, especially since they're all friends again. And when you think about it, CLG, think about the CLG team from 3 years ago, right? Tarek, JDM, Cutler, like Hayes, like all these people, like. Tarek and JDM know how to just calm to each other like the back of their hands.
Yeah.
Like they know how to play together. And so that's what I'm excited to see.
Absolutely. So just kind of staying in the North American scene. This is a roster mania episode. There's some crazy things happening. Taco is the fifth player who's being removed from SK. Obviously, SK's intention was to cut both Taco and Bolts for the Russian-Ukrainian duo of Simple and Flamey. Last minute, the Navi CEO says they puts an insane price tag on both those players. So they actually end up staying in Navi's, but Taco does get the axe as the fifth. Now, he has mentioned that he wants to play for a North American team. People that have been watching the practice wire have seen he's already been practicing with a couple of different North American squads, one of them being Cloud9, one of them being Liquid. How does that move sit with you? Him staying in North America, obviously in Los Angeles, playing with a team like Liquid or Cloud9.
I think his style could really fit one of these teams, Liquid or Cloud9. It's a little dicey to have a player like Taco who's not the most confident, and like he usually relies on another person defensively to really have an impactful defensive side or CT side. And honestly, if he goes to Liquid, he's already been playing with these players for a long time. Is the coach still
Zeus?
Zeus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, so that works out perfectly.
Well, who would he replace on Liquid? So obviously Cloud9 has a vacancy with Stewie going to SK, so that's an easier transition.
Yeah.
But Liquid doesn't have any vacancies, so who could he feasibly replace there? Obviously, it's not going to be Elige. Obviously, it's not going to be your IGL in Nitro. Steel was their most recent pickup. It's definitely not going to be Naf. I mean, he's one of the. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Naf's one of the top 5 players in the world right now, let alone North America. So,
Yeah.
is it Steel that goes? I mean, who
Probably.
Probably there, yeah.
Yeah. I could see Steel going back, and I mean maybe just getting straight up cut, putting as a sub, but maybe like going down a tier in Counter-Strike and forming another Portuguese speaking team. I could see that happening too.
Definitely. Well, the rumor mill churns and it churns and it churns and it churns and doesn't stop. I'm definitely excited to see where this roster mania ends up bleeding, because this is just in these kind of dull moments between tournaments. This is all that keeps us alive as Counter-Strike fans. It's all this roster insanity. I'm personally I was extremely hyped for the possibility of Flamey and Simple being on SK. I might be more excited for the opportunity at seeing Stewie 2K rep that silver and white jersey. So pretty excited.
Imagine Stewie, Simple, and Flamey all going to that team.
Oh, man.
No one could play against that squad.
No,
I don't think.
Terrifying. The problem is if you get 3 of them, that means either Fur, Fallen, or Cold Zera has to be cut in order to make room. I don't know if you do that.
Oh yeah, you're right.
In order to pick up Flamey, Simple, and Stewie.
Yeah, so
That's
if they
tough.
cut Bolts, then yeah, they still need one more.
They still need one more. But I'm still really excited for Stewie. But I think we should put a nice little bow and call this a great episode of Off Angle for the segment of AVGL Off Angle this week. Of course, we are brought to you by Respawn. Some of the best gaming chairs in the market as far as I'm concerned. Fantastic lumbar support. These guys are awesome. HyperX is our new keynote sponsor as well. You can check them out at hyperxgaming.com. Coming up right after this, we're going to give you a few ways to watch us, follow us. Of course, you're going to want to stay tuned because the playoffs are coming up. Big implications as the week and playoffs start to close out. And we're going to see you guys down there at April Anarchy, April 14th through the 18th for our $10,000 LAN.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to this week's episode of Off Angle. As always, you can catch us on Twitter at AVGL_CSGO, on Twitch at twitch.tv/AVGL, just straight up AVGL. Also, big important news. This weekend is the start of the playoff bracket for our AVGL Spring 2018 League. Definitely tune in on Twitch. Again, that's twitch.tv/AVGL. Saturday, May 31st. So that's this Saturday. Make sure you watch it. It's going to be lit. It's going to be going all the way through a couple weeks from then, sporadically. And the top 2 teams will go to California and play each other at LAN finals. So definitely tune into that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.